Don't ever buy a business if it doesn't have its processes and procedures in place. So I did. In fact, I've just done it. But it drove home the importance of making sure that your business is well mapped out and is functioning according to well-defined processes and procedures. And let me give you an example of this. I just bought this business, and obviously when you buy a business, you want to make sure that the key people are going to stay in place. So what we did was we got a hold of the manager and we said, listen, tell us just tell us if you're going to go, you're going to go. We don't have a problem with that. We just want to know where we stand. And, if you are thinking of going, we'll help you, but you just let us know. So that person swore blind. Yeah, we're with you 100%. We love your vision. We like where you're going. We're there. Give them a pay rise. Admin team, an entire admin team, same thing. Sat down with every single member of an administrative team. In fact, the entire organization, but one by one, we went through and asked people what they were thinking. Everyone, was swore blind that they were with us all the way. Gave everybody a pay rise. And then what happened? In the very first week, the manager left, looked at us straight in the eye and said, no, it's not for me. And it's shocking the way people behave these days. And the same thing happened with the administrative team. But one person went and then three went. So I was now in this situation where the knowledge base of the company just vanished. So normally when I buy a business, there's a key person in place, and I've organized to make sure that I know and understand where the processes and procedures are, and if that person did make a duck, then it could probably recuperate. This was an unusual situation because it was a really good deal, and it didn't look like anybody was going to leave. Anyway, to cut a long story short, they all left. Now, imagine you have an engine and there's a problem in the engine, but you don't understand how the engine works, right? You have no choice but to start from the ground up. So all of those years of knowledge that should have been written down, that should have been documented, that should have been in place, were no longer there. So it put me in a position that I haven't been in for a while, where I had to roll up my sleeves, get involved with the company, and start dismantling how it works and putting it back together and trying to record how everything works. Now, I can tell you with 100% confidence that anybody who's watching this, who owns and runs a business, that doesn't have their policies and procedures documented and written down, you're either working too hard, or you're under pressure, or you have no freedom, right? Because it's impossible to have that when all of the knowledge is contained in key people that if you lose them, you no longer have a business. So my point today is, wherever you are in your journey, remember that there's no freedom in business until the business runs by itself. It doesn't mean you can walk away. It doesn't mean you can ignore it. But essentially, that engine has to run by itself, and you have to know and have the operating manual of how that engine works. And it's the only way you can scale as well. You should be able to give the operating manual from this engine to the next person, and they can have a look at it and say, okay, yeah, I know exactly how that works. A business that's run well should be able to pass on to the next generation, or to the next owner, or to whoever is running that without too much difficulty. I believe that the average businessman could run any business if it's well documented, right? Business is basically common sense. But you don't want to reinvent the wheel every time you take over an organization. And for people who are into M&A, That's a lesson I learned and something you should be careful of. Make sure that the organization, the way that it runs, is well documented. If you like these kind of tips, don't forget to subscribe or leave me some feedback. Thanks for listening.